Well, this is Narrowboat Remembrance, built in 2003 by Dennis Cooper at Norton Keynes on the Cannock Extension Canal. And this is Hawne Basin, where I keep the boat. This was a railway interchange which took the produce from Stewart's and Lloyd's steelworks and transferred it onto the rail head for transport to the ports and all over the world. We're coming out of Hawne Basin now onto the line through the little bridge, which is a bit tight, and we're travelling towards the west, and this is the galley of the boat, the kitchen, into the bedroom, and there we say goodbye to the bridge at Hawne Basin and pass moored boats which are also part of Hawne Basin. This is a Lister 2-cylinder engine, and it's 1958, and this was put in the boat in 2003 when I fitted it out. And this is the back cabin, the traditional back cabin, based upon the traditional narrowboats in their early days. The speed limit is observed when we pass moored boats, but I normally travel at about 4 miles an hour.
How many gears are there?
This would be through the Stewart's and Lloyd's, what was the Stewart's and Lloyd's steelworks. And photographs of this from 30 years ago bear no resemblance to what it looks like now. This is in the winter, of course, in March time. And it was closed in 1967. And slowly the undergrowth and overgrowth has taken over, and it's really trees now have replaced the warehouses and the factory buildings which form part of the Stewart's and Lloyd's industry. And this is Ghostie Hill Tunnel. And it's a single bore with no towpath. So you have to make sure nobody's in the other end. So you can go, if you don't see any light, you know you're free to go through. And if they come to the end, their end of the tunnel, the other portal, they can see your light. So they know that it's there's someone in the tunnel. Gets a little bit claustrophobic. And if you've got a smoky diesel engine, then you really do need to blow your nose when you get to the other end. This is the single air shaft that's in the tunnel that comes up in Station Road into somebody's front garden. This part of the tunnel was extended in as much as that they rebuilt a tunnel within a tunnel to stop the subsidence. The roof had begun to fall in, and so it lowered the roof here, and we can just about squeeze through. This you can see now is the proper original height of the tunnel, which gave plenty of room for a steam tug which used to run through. This is underneath the main line from Cardiff to Birmingham on the Stourbridge Extension Railway. And
so you come off the road.
This is the road, the railway and the canal together.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are many bridges along the line here as we make our way towards Windmill End, and they're all different. And when you look at the dates when they were built, it's quite phenomenal that they're in the condition that they are.
Cobbs gone. Yeah. That's at least after built.
All these little bridges were little wharves which came off the side of the canal to serve as frontages for all the many factories and industry which was part of this area. That's now a reclamation yard behind that wall. Waterfall Lane Bridge, which is a fairly recent bridge. I think it's 1960s that was built. just enough clearance to get the chimneys under. This is a recent development.
Yeah, nice, isn't it?
In fact, David Griffiths, who you can see here, lives in one of those flats. That's why he was keen to take it. It was on the site of Lowe's timber yard.
Should know this. Yeah.
This is one of the lowest bridges on this section, Park Lane Bridge.
This is low and it says duck. Just in case. What's this one called? Halesowen Bridge. 1857. Blimey.
We're coming up to Dalton Road Bridge now. It took its name from the firm which used to be there, which made clay sewer pipes, but they were unique in many ways because they decided to glaze them on the inside, which seemed a little bit extravagant for a sewer pipe, but the reason was to prevent blockages. And they sold their sewer pipes all over the world, and it was a large concern, and it's only recently finished, but of course it's all been demolished now, and in fact it's now going to be a very, very large housing estate, so I hear. This is Windmill End, where we join the main part of the Dudley No. 2 canal. To the left is towards Stourbridge, and to the right, the direction we're going, is towards Birmingham. The canal that carries on, continues ahead of us, is the Bosch Boyle Arm, which is now a dead end. That's looking towards Stourbridge and Briley Hill, and you can see that we're coming round now towards Birmingham, and we're passing in a moment the Cobbs engine house, which was originally known as Windmill End Pumping Station. There was a shaft underneath that chimney which was 527 feet deep, and it drained the mines around this area, and the water was then pumped into the canal.
Is there something coming the other way? It's too bad. I mean, the story of this is incredible. It was the last canal tunnel bridge to be built in Britain. And it was gaslit all the way through. Yeah. You can, yeah, that's the beauty, yeah. Oh yeah, I recognise that smell straight away.
We've turned now towards Birmingham on Telford's mainline canal. That's looking back towards Wolverhampton. This canal is straight and level all the way into Birmingham, built by Telford to replace the old Brindley Canal. The canal island there used to house a tolling station where boats were gauged to see how much they were carrying and charges made accordingly. That's the Gower arm which takes the canal up onto the old Birmingham level, Brindley's Canal. Telford's canal was much wider. It was the motorway of its day, and all the way along the length of it into Birmingham you'll see a lot of these little bridges and wharfs and warehouses that used to be there, and factories, all needing to use the canal. This island in the centre is another gauging station island, and you can just about see where the little toll house used to be. We're approaching Spon Lane locks here, which take again the canal up onto the Brindley level, which is the old canal, as the Telford Canal continues on into Birmingham, dead straight towards the M5 motorway as it crosses the canal.
Right.
These lovely elegant cast iron bridges, all made in the Black Country. This is the M5 crossing over on the West Bromwich Bend, taking traffic now 4 times the amount that it was expected to take. It's constantly been strengthened to take the traffic on the elevated section. And it uses the canal line for quite a bit of its route at this stage. The archways on the left were a favourite haunt of drug addicts and alcoholics at one time. And they used to sit round in the winter at a fire brazier which was situated, although they didn't know it, over a 36-inch gas main. This is Brindley's Canal on an aqueduct crossing the Telford Canal as we go beneath it. So we have here the old canal, the new canal as it was in its day. On the right, the LMS line from New Street, Birmingham out to the west coast, and Chance's Glassworks, where they made the beautiful prisms for the lighthouse light lamps. There it is, that's what's left of Chance's. It's got a preservation order and there's hope that it may be reconstructed and refurbished. And a lot of these bridges ran across the canal from one side to the other, to the different factories and established industry which was part of this area of the Black Country and the Birmingham conurbation. We're coming up now to Gulten Bridge. This bridge had the distinction when it was built of being the largest cast iron span in the world, and it was used up till a few years ago as the main road from Smithick up to the motorway junction. It's no longer used. It's been replaced by a much wider road which runs over the tunnels we can see ahead. Again, this tunnel was unique. It was part of a cutting. They built the concrete framework of the tunnel and then filled in over the top of it. It isn't a true tunnel. in as much as it was bored, it was built. We're travelling at about 4 miles an hour, which is the limit on these canals. On the shallower canals, of course, the speed is a bit slower. But on this trip from Hawne Basin into Birmingham, it possibly takes about 3 3/4 hours. This is a good view of what is now known as the Gulten Bridge pumping station, which pump water from the Telford canal to the Brindley canal, which is about 30 or 40 feet above us on the left. So the pumping station was in between the two canals, and that replenished the Brindley section. You can see the difference between Telford's wide canal here, which was the motorway of its day. The amount of tonnage that's been carried along this is incredible. That's a lovely piece of ironwork. It carries the arm from the Brindley Canal over to the Smethwick arm on the right hand side there. That's an aqueduct. It's amazing how they used to put some artistic expression into these bridges. Yeah. Not beautiful by modern standards, but in its day it was considered quite a unique piece of work. And this is where the Brindley Canal comes back down to meet the Telford Canal, down 3 or 4 locks, as it made its way through Smethwick and finally ended up joining us here as we continue on into Birmingham. Each bridge slightly different to the previous one. These little arms that go off to the right and the left, serving factories and wharfage. Interesting one on the right here, which is blocked off at the other end by a steel plate hanging on chain. I've often thought that would be a good refuge to put a boat in there. This is another loading gauge station island. And we're moving up now to an interesting section which shows the old Brindley Canal veering off to the left through this bridge, following its circuitous route into Birmingham, where Telford ignored that and went straight on. After about a mile up that Brindley Canal, it joins the Telford Canal again further up. Getting nearer towards the city. I'm coming into the city now. We've even seen kingfishers along this stretch, which is really unbelievable, but it's true. Moving into the city now, where this was all developed. They kept the canals, which was one good feature. That's the Brindley Canal going off again to the right. Yeah. And we're passing an old pub on the left now called the Fiddle and Bone that used to have jazz nights in there.
Which one's that? Oh yeah, yeah. It is, yeah.
On the left, this is the NIA, the International Arena. All major venues there, all major artists, American artists coming to perform there.
Oh yeah.
Holds thousands.
Oh yeah, yeah, I noticed that.
This would have been the back of Bingley Hall in the old days. Again, another one of the loops, Brindley's loops, leading off to the right there.
Oh yeah.
The winding circuitous canal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right into the centre of Birmingham now.
The pub right behind you.
The pub on the left there.
Yeah.
Quite a famous one now. It's where Bill Clinton came when they had one of the big summits. And he was photographed in all the local press having his drink on the balcony there.
Yeah.
This is the famous Sea Life Centre.
Did anybody film it?
And that frontage on the NIA there is fairly recent.
Oh yeah. I know.
And this is towards Symphony Hall on the left. A big new development, over 20 years old now. Again, where all the big names, the entertainment, and where the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra is based.
It is, yeah.
Trip boat on the left. All different restaurants and places to eat on the right here. French, Greek, Thai restaurants. Put Birmingham back on the map again this year. Now we've just come onto Broad Street into Street Basin. Two canal companies used to meet here. And the one company had water which was 1.5 inches on a lower level than the other. So consequently all the goods had to be transferred boat to boat. Well, this was just a time-consuming and costly business, but of course they decided to amalgamate, and the bar gate was permanently opened and the levels brought to into parity. The trip boat's following us through here. On the weekends, this place is heaving with people. Shoppers, people coming in to take photographs, and on a summer's afternoon on a weekend, it's very, very pleasant here. All the pubs are open, people are sitting out. This is right under Broad Street. Been over that bridge countless times, and not very often underneath it. This is working back now where we came from. We've turned the boat round. Symphony Hall is now on our right. There it is. A superb development. And I think we were now coming to the end of the trip, where we dropped off Dave Griffiths and Ken Pritchard.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful to Ken for taking all this lovely footage. It's given me a really good record of what it's like to travel from Hawne Basin into Birmingham on a boat which I spent 8 years fitting out. But sadly, I think that we may have to get rid of it soon, because Janet and myself are getting a little bit too long in the tooth to operate it, particularly when we come to the locks. Thankfully, Hawne Basin to Birmingham has no locks.
Oh yeah. 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 Oh yeah. Oh, I got you. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, is he going as well? All right.